The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Our service this evening will follow Responsive Prayer 2, which is on page 285 in your hymnals. Page 285. Please rise for the opening verses.
O Lord, open my lips,
And my mouth will declare your praise.
make haste, O God, to deliver me.
Make haste to help me, O Lord. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen.
My eyes are ever toward the Lord.
For he will pluck my feet out of the net.
One thing have I asked of the Lord, that will I seek after,
That I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord, and to inquire in his temple.
for he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble.
He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high on a rock.
And now my head shall be lifted up above my enemies all around me, and I will offer in his tent sacrifices with shouts of joy.
I will sing and make melody to the Lord. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and will be forever. Amen.
My eyes are ever toward the Lord.
For he will pluck my feet out of the net.
A reading from Matthew. Then one of the 12, whose name was Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What will you give me if I deliver him over to you?" And they paid him 30 pieces of silver. And from that moment, he sought an opportunity to betray him. Then when Judas, his betrayer, saw that Jesus was condemned, he changed his mind and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." They said, "What is that to us? See to it yourself." And throwing down the pieces of silver into the temple, he departed, and he went and hanged himself. But the chief priests, taking the pieces of silver, said, "It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since it is blood money." So they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field as a burial place for strangers. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken by the prophet Jeremiah, saying, "And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him on whom a price had been set by some of the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me." This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
$30 pieces of silver. How much was that? Well, according to Google, it's about 25 grand in 2020 Villa Park dollars. $25,000 for the life of Christ. Our midweek Lenten sermons this year focus on the objects of Lent and the introits of Lent. This week we look at the 30 coins that Judas received to betray Christ into the hand of the Romans. So a silver coin, a single silver coin, was around 3 or 4 days of wages. 30 of them then would have been something like 3 or 4 months of salary. The median income for Villa Park, according to the census, is $76,000. So 30 silver coins would have been between $20,000 and $25,000. And when I was a kid, and Donnie and I were just starting out, we used to dream of the day that we would make $20,000. Wouldn't even cover my mortgage now. It's really kind of amazing how small $20,000 really is. so small. I imagine Judas felt that way when it was all over. What had he done for just 30 pieces of silver? Judas went out and hanged himself. So we never know what was going through his mind that night. All we really know is that he returned the money because he apparently couldn't stand keeping it, knowing what he had done to get it. And then he hanged himself. The introit for this week says, "One thing have I asked of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in the shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock." King David wrote those words, Psalm 27, which is what the introit is. King David had amazing palaces. Palaces that cost way more than 30 silver pieces. And King David even says elsewhere that he felt guilty because his palace was so amazing compared to the place the Lord dwelt. But where had David rather dwell? Where had David rather spend his days? The house of the Lord. Because David understood that ramparts and walls cannot protect him. There are no defenses in this world that can stop evil. But the one who dwells in the house of the Lord, for him, everything important is already done. Everything needful is already taken care of. Judas forgot. He got caught up in worldly hysteria. We have to conquer the Romans. We have to get them out of Jerusalem no matter what. We're the chosen people. We have to do something. No one was asking what God's plan was. They were just participating in communal hysteria over their own plans, what they thought should be done. Maybe you can resonate a little with how easy it is to get sucked into that kind of hysteria as we go through this pandemic. It's so easy to just completely lose sight of everything that is really, truly important in this life. And to start believing that all we have to do is build this defense. All we have to do is take this action. And then everything will be fine. But nothing in this world is fine. It's a dying world, filled with dying people. Only when you make your dwelling the house of the Lord, then and only then, your head shall be lifted up above your enemies all around you. Never believe that any amount of silver is better than trusting Jesus. And remember that whatever silver you have, he gave you anyway. Always use it to his glory, and remember that right now, this very minute, he is providing you with every single thing that you need, whether you can see it or not. And likewise, remember that not all silver is silver, but it is all just as blinding. Satan likes to blind us from seeing God. He wants us to trust in ourselves, to trust in our politicians, to trust in governmental programs or flattening the curve. It's all an attempt to blind you from seeing Jesus. trust in Jesus. Don't let bright, shiny things distract you. Please rise and hear you.
O Lord,
Have mercy.
O Christ,
Have mercy.
O Lord,
Have mercy.
our Father,
Who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
I believe in God,
Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, and in Jesus Christ, his only Son, our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, died, and was buried. He descended into hell. The third day he rose again from the dead. He ascended into heaven, and sits at the right hand of God the Father Almighty. From thence he will come to judge the living and the dead. I believe in the Holy Spirit, the holy Christian Church, the communion of saints, the forgiveness of sins, the resurrection of the body, and the life everlasting. Amen.
hear my prayer, O Lord.
Let my cry come to you.
In the day of my trouble, I call upon you.
For you answer me,
Hide your face from my sins.
and blot out all my iniquities.
Create in me a clean heart, O God.
And renew a right spirit within me.
Cast me not away from your presence.
And take not your Holy Spirit from me.
Restore to me the joy of your salvation.
And uphold me with a willing spirit.
Because your steadfast love is better than life.
My lips will praise you.
For you have been my help.
In the shadow of your wings I will sing for joy.
Teach me your way, O Lord, that I may walk in your truth.
Unite my heart to feel your name.
I give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with my whole heart.
And I will glorify your name forever.
May all who seek you rejoice and be glad in you.
May those who love your salvation say evermore, God is great.
Save your people and bless your heritage.
Be their shepherd and carry them forever.
Give ear, O Lord, to my prayer.
Listen to my plea for grace.
O Father of mercies and God of all comfort, our only hope in time of need, look with favor upon your servant Taurus. Assure her of your mercy, deliver her from the temptations of the evil one, and give her patience and comfort in her illness. If it please you, restore her to health, or give her grace to accept this tribulation with courage and hope. Through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen.
Almighty God, our Heavenly Father, your mercies are new every morning, and though we deserve only punishment, you receive us as your children and provide for all our needs of body and soul. Grant that we may heartily acknowledge your merciful goodness, give thanks for all your benefits, and serve you with willing obedience. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever.
Amen.
I thank
Thank
you,
you,
my
my
Heavenly
Heavenly
Father,
Father, through Jesus Christ, your dear Son, that you have graciously kept me this day. I pray you to forgive me all my sins, where I have done wrong, and graciously keep me this night. For into your hands I commend myself, my body and soul, and all things. Let your holy angel be with me, that the evil foe may have no power over me. Amen.
Let us bless the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
The Lord bless us, defend us from all evil, and bring us to everlasting life.
Amen.
We conclude by singing hymn 437. 437.